So welcome, everyone. Might as well get started. This is the Trusted Referral Network. We are a network of independent marketing services providers around the country that get together now twice monthly on the second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of the month. So this is clearly the fourth Tuesday. We also switch up the times just to make things interesting. The first Tuesday is at 11 a.m. on Eastern, and the second Tuesday is 5 p.m. this time. And we have booked an hour and a half, but it doesn't necessarily need to take the entire time. The focus is meeting other people that do provide complementary marketing services to see if there are opportunities to collaborate, refer business, and learn from each other. We try to have a showcase every week. We don't have, and that's usually 15 minutes. And then we also, so that forms the basis of a discussion, which we could do today if somebody is interested in doing it. Troy is a guest, Hippolito. He has a successful show that he does. How often do you do it, Troy?
Yeah, I do it once a month. Gives me enough time to get some traction.
To prep.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, Troy, you could take 10-15 minutes, tell us a little bit about how you do it, what it gets for you. We can make that a point of discussion.
Would it be
then,
okay if we ran introductions first? That way I
sure,
can
we could do
know other.
absolutely. We
Yeah.
could do
I
intros
know
first.
Jason really well. Known him for years. Good guy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And we also have, so Troy is a guest, Kenny is a guest, Craig is a guest, Zev is a new member. Jason is a former member and is coming back to visit. David, Rochelle, and I have been members for a while. So yeah, why don't we go around? I will, you know what I'll do here? Why don't I do it in this order? I'll put the names in the chat. Let's see. Give me a sec while I find the chat. Yes, I am sporting new glasses. Thank you for noticing. So since David did notice my new glasses, he gets to go first.
You get to go first.
And I'll put it on like 2 minutes or so. Give me a sec while I find my apps. I usually have a good timer app.
Find my LinkedIn. All right.
Where's my timer app? There it is. So you know what? I'll set it for 3 minutes because we have a small number of folks today. But you don't have to take the whole 3 minutes. Tell us what you do, what brings you here, how you can help others. If you're looking for anything in particular, and if you can come up with something that makes you unique and stand out and memorable, that helps because we go to lots of meetings, a lot of Zoom meetings, and sometimes it's difficult to keep track of whom we've met. So David, why don't you take it away?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Michael. Boom shakalaka. All right, so I just posted my LinkedIn and chat there for those of you that haven't connected with me. I'm David Libby at twopens.com. We do public relations and sales enablement for B2B technology companies. That's the pitch. Today I was having a conversation with a client who said, I want to have someone work with me like Steve Jobs. And I was like, okay, you do know that I worked with Steve Jobs, and he gave me a hug. And I said, okay, you're also brilliant in your own right. You're very creative. You've got a lot to offer. What Steve taught me was just think out of the box. And, a lot of us don't want to do that because we don't want to take risks. But if you take calculated strategic risks, which is what we do when we do public relations and sales enablement for companies, then that needle can move forward. So we work with startups in the tech sector all around the country. Outside the country, actually, we have a number of companies, agencies that hire us in Germany. That's a really fascinating client base we have there. And then also mid-sized companies, because the mid-sized folks are so much fun because they've got a lot going on generally. They get marketers that are more seasoned, and they have teams of marketers. So we join those marketing teams and we help increase their brand awareness. Really what people want from a PR team across the board is increasing brand awareness. And that is the most important thing that we found. I surveyed a bunch of our clients. They all said that was the number one reason why they hired PR. And sales enablement pretty much speaks for itself, right? We create fancy content and it helps generate interest in sales. So there you have it. I'm trying to get through the next minute and 14 seconds, Michael. I mean, happy Thanksgiving.
We have a question for you. Go
Hey,
ahead,
Dave.
Michelle.
David, you ever
Hey,
work
Michelle.
with IP attorneys? Because intellectual property attorneys, IP attorneys. Because
No, we don't. Yeah.
Because if
Go
they
ahead.
have a new product that they're launching, and depending upon who or what, that might be of interest. I mean, I'm just asking.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. We have a lot of experience in the legal tech sector,
Oh, really?
and yeah, over 3 years. Not specifically with attorneys necessarily, but with technology companies. We've worked for LexisNexis, some of the biggest legal tech software companies that, if you're in the legal sector, you've heard of them. That's a great question. Thanks,
I've
Michelle.
got a client that is IP. He's an IP attorney. So I'm going to talk to them, as a matter of fact, tomorrow. So I want to see if they do any, if any of their up and coming clients would have, would be a candidate for. Because I just thought if you're putting a new
Thank you.
product to market, you may want to take it to the next level or meet them then and then come back to them in a couple of months where they really need your work.
Thank you. And we pay really good referral fees for a full year. So on the gross revenue.
So I think
you.
what Rochelle was getting at was it's not so much the attorneys themselves for PR, but for their clients who are, filing patents, et cetera.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And because they see what's going on right now and, where the company stands and what the projection is for the future. So I thought that could be of interest.
Cool.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
That I may want to introduce you to. I'll have to think about putting the.
So really patent attorneys more so than like trademark attorneys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or their technologies.
And David's based out in the Oakland, California area. So, and certainly a tech hub. All right, Rochelle, take it away.
Hey, okay. Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth. And I always say it's dynamic business growth and not schlep along business growth. So what's the story with this right now? Companies, they suffer with trying to try to introduce their businesses in a compelling way. Very often they are long-winded, boring, common, and speak in jargon that if you're not in that industry, you need to take out a dictionary to figure out what the hell they're talking about. I've gone to, I can't even tell you how many presentations, and one of them, somebody asked me like, what'd you think? And I said, you're lucky you're a friend of mine, because if not, I would have handed you a summons. This was so pathetic. To get me up in the morning to listen to this it should be illegal. I mean, you can't do that to people. So I always say that when you're talking about your business, are you storytelling or boring telling? Did you tell me a story right now that based on that story, I can recognize your high level expertise, and that because of that, you become incredibly memorable? Because a lot of companies, especially if you're in an industry that is very, very crowded, you need to be able to say something that I'm going to say, whoa, I want you to go from unclear to unforgettable. So I love doing my cohorts. I'd like to do my next one in January. And in January, I'd like to look for a specific cohort. I'd like to do a cohort of only about 5 people under the legal umbrella. Because recently I've been working with attorneys, and one I did an immigration attorney that by the time I was done rewriting his pitch and positioning him differently, he didn't even recognize himself. He says, hello, is that me? So again, the way you position yourself, the way I want to know, how do you pull a rabbit out of a hat? I want to know what is your high level thinking, and I don't want to know the common and the ordinary. So again, if you know, I'm looking for 5 attorneys that want to up-level their speaking and the way they talk about their business. And last but not least, I love working with family-owned businesses. So if anybody is working with family-owned businesses, I'm just talking about my business consulting umbrella. I love doing the emotion is what drives the business, and we've got to be able to navigate that in order to do something called profit and not just, argue with each other. So that's my stuff for the moment.
Do you remember Stacy Mathis?
Yes, I'm very friendly with Stacy. Yeah.
Okay, she has, I mean, she might have some lawyers that,
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you just reminded me I should drill down on her. I've got to get to her.
yeah, right, cool. Somebody just joined. It was Mark Osborne. Wonderful. Okay, welcome, Mark.
Be back in one. My dog is going nuts.
All right, Craig Leonard. Take it away. I'll reset.
All right. Well, I guess I don't have the opportunity to bore Rochelle to death, so which is unfortunate. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I won't take 3
Oh,
minutes.
I'm still here.
Okay. So anyway, I work with people in a number of different sectors, looking to connect with more people in the B2B space, as well as franchisees. So my work encompasses, basically, I help people talk about what they do and what sets them apart from competition. And one of my strengths is LinkedIn. So I help people who are looking to attract their ideal prospects, their ideal clients. And then about a quarter of my business is working with people in career transition. And that could be anyone from the recent college grad to mid-career professional who's looking to go from sector A to sector B, and they're not sure, A, how their experience translates to the next one, and how they can communicate their value and what they've learned and how it will apply to the next one. So business is called Craig Thoughts. It was inspired by Creed Thoughts, Creed's blog on The Office, for any Office fans out there. And our website is craigthoughts.com. Thank you.
Wonderful. And you're based where again, Craig?
I'm in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, right. By the way, everybody should drop their contact information into the chat, and I'll encourage folks to download that at the end so you capture everybody's information. Of course, if you do forget somebody that you want to meet with, if you remember anything about them, reach out to me, and I will connect you. All right. Moving on, Kenny Perry, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back. And so now that I'm on the clock, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kenny Perry. I'm the founder of Organic Mindset Agency. So we're a digital marketing agency that specializes in SEO, online ads, social media growth, branding, and website development and revision as well. So we get websites completed in 21 days or less. So what really separates us, we take a holistic approach, not only understand the business, but also understand the industry. So when it comes to understanding the industry, it's really, really important to, understand what makes that business tick. Also, at the same time, understanding how KPIs are measured, how metrics are measured, how to understand what the company's overall mission is, to put the right strategies together to ensure that they're obviously hitting their maximum potential when it comes to the marketing side of things. Now, what we also do as well is we really like to educate our clients as well if we're doing, pretty much a project for them. So for instance, we have a dashboard where our clients can see all the data and analytics in real time. We train them how to go in there. We train them how to really understand what the metrics mean. On the flip side of things, if we're creating a website for somebody, if there's somebody who updates things on a regular basis. So for example, let's say it's somebody that, has blogs that they upload on a regular basis, or they have events, we train them with tutorial videos on a step-by-step basis to really go in and understand and recreate things and also make edits if need be. So it's not just about providing the service, really focus on the educational aspect as well for our clients. Now, who I'm looking to connect with, I also always look to connect with, other marketers for potential collaborations. We love to connect with strategic partners as well that we come across, such as financial advisors, business consultants, people within those industries where we cross over, but our skill sets don't really intertwine. And we've also partnered with a travel agency where we can give out hotel savings cards to whenever we have consultation calls or anyone books a call with us. And then whenever we have someone that chooses to use our services, what we like to do is make sure that we take care of a lot of their travel incentives as well. So therefore, if they, book a flight and go somewhere to a 5-star hotel, we'll make sure that we cover the majority of the costs, and they also have to pay the taxes and their airfare as well. Now, also, when it comes to some services that we're launching, so we have some new services that are coming out in the new year. They're going to be really streaming related. So we have, some new things in the pipeline right now that are going to be launching in the new year that we look forward to. Actually, well, I like to say next month, but technically I'm trying to let this November go on a little bit longer than it needs to be. Located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm probably the only Canadian on here. And I'm a dual citizen / citizen in both countries. So I'm back and forth all the time. Majority of my clients are US based. And I just love to come on and connect with people, and I'll drop my information in the chat afterwards. And yeah, no, that's besides that, it's just it's an honor to be on here, with other people that are doing similar things or things that are different, and hearing everyone's story on how things came to be, and that's that. So Kenny Perry Organic Mindset Agency, and the slogan is growing your business, it's all in your mind. Thank you.
So
Kenny, where are you located in Canada again?
Toronto, right downtown in the heart of the city.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned, I'm going to go back and again. You mentioned, Kenny, a couple things that I think might be of interest to the group. One is the dashboard. I don't know if you can share that at some point. I presume some of the information is proprietary, so you have to be careful about it. But if you've got a demo, that might be interesting.
Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to show you guys the demo, actually, because when I first started my agency, some of the main things that I looked at and researched. One of the main problems that a lot of people have with agencies, first thing was, the dashboard, the analytics, trying to understand. So I had a dashboard created from scratch where people can see the data analytics in real time. Other thing was people having issues with websites. So I was like, okay, I was able to hire creators that were able to get it done within 21 days or less once payments received, and once we receive everything up front. Therefore, there's nothing that's going to prolong the process. So yeah, those are things. And I'm more than happy to, even towards the end of the call, to show a little bit of the dashboard. I have no problem doing that.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, that'd be great. And the other thing that you mentioned that was very surprising was you're funding travel. Is that travel for people to come meet you? What was that all about?
No, so basically it's a travel agency that we were able to lock something in with, and I basically had met with someone and they had ran it up, and basically what happens is someone books a call with us, we can comp hotel savings cards. So there's basically a dashboard you log into, you create a username, password, you can log in, and it lets you know what the savings are, particular rates on particular hotels, very similar to an Expedia type format. And then if obviously someone comes on board, we can grant a travel voucher, which they choose from one of the, X amount of countries. And what happens is we comp the majority, us and the agency comp the majority of the stay, and they just have to pay for the taxes and their airfare. So the majority of the hotel will be covered. Just have to pay for the taxes and the airfare. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Very cool. Jason Cement.
Hey guys. So I run an agency. I live in LA. We went virtual in February, closed the office. My partner moved from Phoenix, where most of our people were, and he moved to Minnesota. He wants really 9-degree weather, which he's getting, and bought his first winter coat. And so we have, our agency is a little different. So we do digital marketing, we build websites, we do rankings and advertising and social media, all that kind of stuff. We've been doing it since I think 2006. And we don't have salespeople, we don't have long-term contracts, and we have really good longevity for like over a decade. We have certain clients. And what we started to do during COVID is employees started moving. We realized we could really transition to remote. And we started hiring people overseas also, pairing them up with somebody in America. So it enables us to keep pricing very aggressive for clients. So we're not too expensive. And I even just got a note yesterday in New York State, the minimum salary is $67,000 as of March for an employee that's not on an hourly basis. I mean, that's a lot of money for like a starting person, I'm saying. I've been doing this since I graduated law school in '96. I've been online, and I would say we're also different because I don't know how to use Photoshop, but I've done hundreds of websites with my team, And so I sort of look at things with my partner differently than most agencies. We don't have the ego, and we definitely don't have the technical understanding of the tools, but we understand business because I ran a business for 10 years and I was paying the marketing people and the developers to do all the things for me. So when we founded our agency, we wanted to be different and create more transparency. So when we do meetings, you might have 3 or 4 people on a meeting because you're talking to the people doing the work. So there's no account reps either. So no salespeople, no account reps. And we work with people who want to be perceived as leaders in their industries, whether you sell sewing machines, you're a lawyer, a doctor, you're doing futuristic things like gene therapy or heart disease. All our clients have the same desire, which is to be known as number one in their industry. So we'll do it wherever their customers are going to be found, whether it's rankings, building a fan base on social, or running ads and interrupting people. It's all the same stuff. So that's what we do. Get visible, 20 seconds to go.
There you go. You will cede your 20 seconds. All right. Anybody have a question for Jason? All right. If not, we will move on to Zev Gotkin.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Really glad to be part of this. Zev Gotkin, founder, CEO of ZV Media. We're a full-service marketing agency, but our main thing is outcomes-focused digital advertising. We're a growth marketing agency that's focused primarily on growing your revenue by 6 to 12 times return on ad spend, usually through Google and Meta. That's our primary platforms we're buying ads, but we're really platform agnostic and can buy ads on platforms such as LinkedIn, Bing, really every platform. We are catering primarily to the hospitality, travel, and leisure space right now, like small hotel chains, restaurant groups, event spaces. But we have worked with every vertical imaginable, but that is what we're doing the most of. A lot of it is either booking directly, e-commerce campaigns, people buying for tickets for an event, like 2 or 3 people, or lead generation as well for larger parties or for events. And I'm based in Queens, we're in the New York area, but can work with people all over the country, and really excited to meet all of you and find out ways we can help one another and collaborate.
Okay, cool. So hospitality, leisure, events, restaurants, those are your core right now.
Yeah, so really anything within the hospitality rubric, although we have worked with, like many people here, I'm sure, we've worked with like the law firms, we've worked with the healthcare and all that, but hospitality seems to be our best niche, and mostly B2C.
All right. Roy, do you want to do an intro, and then you can do the showcase after we finish with all the intros?
Sure. My name is Troy Hippolito. I'm known as the not so boring LinkedIn guy. I have an IT background, and my personality is pretty much dry as toast. So I help in 3 areas: increase your business, your branding, and your bookings. And that's about it. I'll talk about what I'm doing specifically when I get into the little presentation. Thank you.
All right. And Mark Osborne.
Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you. I'm Mark. I work with B2B SaaS services technology firms, typically early stage, so more than 500,000 in annual revenue, but less than 20 million. And really focused on sort of building revenue systems. So that might be attraction systems that are more sort of related to marketing, acceleration systems around moving sales opportunities through the pipeline, or activation systems for more renewals, upsells, and referrals. And that's typically what I do. I'm not typically doing the implementation of buying media or a lot of those things. I'm more helping to prioritize what should they be focused on. Is buying media the right thing, or is LinkedIn the right thing? And more sort of providing that sort of marketing executive.
So is it sort of like a fractional CMO kind of role?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And you said building revenue systems. Is that sort of designing which automation tools link?
It can be automation tools. I typically approach it as the business need first. And then once we prioritize the business need, to look at, well, what are the technologies or data that can facilitate, getting faster, getting better. And so that's where those sort of automation things will layer in on top of it.
All right, cool. And where again are you located?
I'm in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. That's right. Okay. So thank you for joining us. I will, any questions for Mark? All right. I will do a little pitch myself. So my name is Michael Bendit. As you know, I am wearing new glasses. My last pair broke over the weekend. So my core business is selling software development services. And about 70% of what we do is in the marketing world. So it's a lot of websites, e-commerce sites, some mobile applications, and some custom applications as well. And my best leads are other digital agencies that are not, they have to build the websites because that becomes the destination for a lot of their clients or a lot of their clients' customers. But it's not really their core. So they want to outsource that, or maybe they need to supplement their teams because of one of three reasons. Oftentimes, even if they've got a programmer or two on staff, that programmer is overbooked. So they need extra hands when things get busy. The programmer or programmers may not have the right skill set, right? There may be, oftentimes something will come in where the programmers don't know the platform, right? Maybe they're WordPress programmers. They're very familiar with that. They can handle that, but they're not Shopify experts, or they're not Magento experts, or whatever. And the third reason is the cost. Sometimes that component of the opportunity doesn't have a big enough budget for them to do it domestically. And if they aren't already leveraging offshore resources, it's going to be difficult for them to meet the budget. So I have about a dozen teams that I represent. Most of my work is with my dual shore teams. Those are teams that have people. The principals tend to be onshore, but most of the developers are offshore. And so, onshore rates are somewhere around 150 an hour. Offshore rates tend to be in the $20 to $30 or $40 an hour. The dual shore rates are more like $60 to $80 an hour. But it's a good, you're saving more than half off of domestic rates, but you're not having to deal with the complexities of going offshore, talking to people, different time zones, different cultures. So those dual shore teams really do well for me. Always looking to meet teams that do digital marketing and can use the extra technical help. Okay. Let's open it up again. First of all, before we jump into it, anybody have any questions, comments to other members who introduce themselves? Don't forget, of course, to upload your information into the chat.
Yeah, I would definitely say not dealing with the back and forth is a godsend.
Back and forth, what do you mean?
Well, if you have to deal with those different time zones and teams that don't get it the first time, it's like pulling teeth sometimes. So it's great to have that kind of relationship where you put it down and they just do it, and they just meet you once a week and you say, change this, change that, put it in the system. Yeah. So I got a few websites done not too long ago, and it was a little more difficult than I would want it.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely go offshore directly to India or wherever, and you're going to get a lower per hour rate. It doesn't mean that it might take them twice as long, so it might effectively go from $20 an hour to $40 an hour for the equivalent. But you also have to deal with a lot of the complexities of as you mentioned. So people who have been burned by working directly with offshore teams appreciate not having to do that and still benefiting from some of the cost savings.
So there's three people from Los Angeles on this meeting right now?
And it looks
If
that
so,
way.
so is the 10 freeway, which pretty much part of it burned down, is it still undrivable? That's a main artery in
It's
Los Angeles.
back in business.
Already?
They,
Wow, that's
they got it back
amazing.
in business before the Thanksgiving holiday. It was
Wow,
a
the
major
fire.
opportunity for some political points. So the
Yeah.
governor flew in and the mayor jumped on board.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive.
East Coasters, the freeway
Traffic's
literally,
moving slowly as usually.
of course, right. But at least it's moving because the fire was so bad. It, like I heard, it burnt, it destroyed the cement that was holding up the freeway. They had to rebuild it, and they did that in days. That's incredible.
Wow. All right, so let's jump into a showcase, a spur of the moment showcase. Croy Hippolito, who's a guest, is going to tell us a little bit about his show, and how he's built it up and what it's doing for him.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't expecting this. So I'll give a little more background. I just wanted to hurry up and allow other people to talk. I have a technical background as well. So I have an IT company, but most of my stuff is LinkedIn marketing, and it's evolved over the years where we're combining systems and personalization, and to actually get the conversions and the bookings out for vetted individuals. So I tend to work with solopreneurs and companies, B2B or high-end coaches that produce, I don't know, 250K to about 5 million. And so that's kind of my sweet spot there. And I was figuring out ways, well, how can I engage individuals and actually support them? How can I support the community and support myself at the same time? And if anyone knows LinkedIn, there are direct DM campaigns. There's content you can drive direct meetings from. I like content because it's little bite-sized chunks of goodness. So if you can solve a problem or lessen the pain, you get a lot of activity, and you, for every 500 views, you can convert into a vetted meeting, right? But that's not the same thing as having a longer term or a longer a viewership. So after a while, if they see you and they see like, oh, I like this guy or this girl, I love their content, they have a show, they get to see you on a longer format. And those are really where a lot of the deals come in. They make the decisions on that and sort of thing. So I have a monthly show. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes I don't, but I take everything as like a campaign. So if I create a show, some people have shows once a week. I have it once a month. It's either a LinkedIn Live or a private Zoom like this. And let me get you the link of the last show. And it was all about marketing and sales. And I'll just give it to you. And you guys can take a look at it a little bit later. But
drop it in the chat.
Sure, just did there. And it was interesting. So they're not super interesting, but we have a couple of slides and we talk about how to target, how to get your bookings, and then how to arrange and frame the sales call. And I'm not a salesperson by any means. I do all the stuff prior to that. And that's why I had the guest speaker on there. And so I tend to send people clients that I don't fit me. So I like to have these type of partnerships that have ancillary services that support people. So the gentleman on this live, he's actually one of those individuals that I'm handing clients to for the sales and conversions part. But anyway, when we're creating this event, we're figuring out who wants to see it. So we create systems around that to actually invite people prior. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm a little congested and a little coughing here. But yeah, just work with me. So if you have 4 weeks prior, 5 weeks prior, it's pretty good. You can create some kind of automation, and you say, well, what's my target? So as of today, I got 25,000 connections on LinkedIn. And I'm getting a new website next week, and I'll share the visuals because a lot of website people here, so you might appreciate the designs. Now I'll show you that a little bit later. But if I want to figure out who would be ideal, I said we know a lot of marketing people, a lot of sales people, B2B individuals, I'll target a segment of those people and I'll create a campaign. And I'll create one campaign that bounces off another. So on the last event, I send a thank you note. And I send a thank you note and a link to the replay. And I said, by the way, we are having this event coming up, at another date. Or I'll separate it into messages and have a 3-day gap between it. And so that gets the ball rolling. You can create another campaign directly on your first level connections and figure out, kind of isolate those individuals that may be interested. And another thing that people forget is that LinkedIn groups, some of them have huge number of people. And you can target those individuals through Sales Navigator and tighten that search down. And you can also have on one of my systems, we have a switch to saying only people that have open mail. So they may have an advanced Sales Navigator or some kind of paid LinkedIn account. Those are usually open mail, so they're accepting in mails. So you can target those without hitting your credits. Also on events and LinkedIn Lives, you have the ability to invite 1,000 people a week. And that takes about 7 minutes. You don't get a lot of conversions, but at the end of the day, you're not having thousands of people for an event you only had 4 weeks for. You usually want between 150 and 350 people register. And you usually get about 10 to 20%, show up rate. And so how you present value to individuals is very, very important. And sometimes if you have door prizes, it's not a bad thing to mention. So I always have a giveaway, a daily process. Last time I gave away my old computer equipment and I packaged it up. And I said, somebody needs it. So how can I give out to the community? And I can't sell the stuff. People don't really sell a lot of used stuff. And it's better just to give it out to someone that actually needs it. So I know there's other entrepreneurs that need that equipment, and they were foaming at the mouth, and engaging in it. And I think I had 134 comments at a time, and it ended up being like 180 comments. And as soon as the live was finished, it went from 230 views to about 1,200 views instantly. The next day, it went to about 2,000 views. So a LinkedIn Live is interesting because it's something you want to create public. If it's something you want more private, of course, you do a Zoom setup, a link to an event, and then register on the Zoom or however you want to do it. But the LinkedIn Live has certain advantages of the replay. The other advantages is that if you use something like software Restream to run it, you can add all your social media parts. So you have a LinkedIn Live, I have a YouTube Live, I have a Facebook Live, and there's 30 something channels you could use. And think about this. Okay, I'm only pushing at 3 or 4 channels, maybe Twitter as well, right? If you have a guest speaker, they'll most likely add about 3 channels too. So as soon as you go live, you're spreading out on 6 channels. Imagine having 2 or 3 guest speakers. You can run the math on that. And so it's a great opportunity to get out there and have a big punch. Now, the show is always recorded. So starting next year, I will probably do a podcast. So I have a history of shows already. So you can reuse that material. And from some of the concepts and the things that happen, I was able to produce like 3 or 4 pieces of material for post. Now, I didn't record it, but I showed what happened. I have a sheet saying how I broke down the LinkedIn Live because it's just information. And it's like, this is how I'm arranging the LinkedIn Live and how I'm breaking it up into smaller increments. And people are asking for that sheet, how to do this, how to do that. And so it's an opportunity to not just have people on the show, not just to entertain them or edutain them. It actually generates meetings. So as soon as I get off that, the next day I got bookings automatically. And so I always say that those decision makers, if they're lurkers, if they see the show, that's a tipping point a lot of times to say, you know what, I need this help. And
how often can I ask Troy, how many meetings you typically get from a show?
Oh, and it's not a quantity thing. I tend to get about, on average through all my systems, about 20 something meetings. I had to slow it down. Previously, I was getting about 50 a week, and it's just too much, and it's too much noise. So what I did is I reduced the meetings. If you look at my profile, I tell you how much money you need to make. I tell who I'm working with. So I'm disqualifying those individuals. And that's what you need. And my booking link, I have questions on there to ask them specifically what their budgets are, even for a meet and greet. And so I want to, again, reduce those meetings, and I make sure I don't have but so many slots open. So to answer your question, just from the event, usually between one and I would say four vetted meetings from that one thing.
How much
Yes,
time do you spend talking about your own services versus
very little.
Okay.
Very little. I spend educating. I'm saying this is what we do, and this is one way to do it.
Right.
You know, and I have an assistant that puts the booking links of the guest speaker and mine in there if they want to talk to me. And then I go back and I reply to, people when I can on the thread, because you'll have a whole bunch of chats in there for people asking questions and stuff. Because during a LinkedIn Live, you cannot physically chat back with them. You have to verbally reply, and so you have a number of opportunities. I'm sorry, you had your hand up?
Yeah,
Sure.
just a quick question. So when you're calling a show, it's really a LinkedIn Live, correct?
It can be. The next one will be a LinkedIn event, which is going to be a Zoom, because it's under the hood type stuff.
Okay, so you're just inviting people. Now, how long are your lives or your events? Are they 30 minutes, an hour? How long
It's
are you?
it's 1 hour long, but I plan on I'm so sorry. I hear my daughter crying.
No,
1 second.
you could take a
What's
break.
wrong? You okay? Come here, give me a hug. Huh? Well, go upstairs. Go to the restroom upstairs, please. Okay. She wants her phone. She came here for the phone. Wasn't me.
Let's say what's most important here, right?
There you go. The most important
What's
thing.
the difference between, let's say, that and running like a podcast, like a weekly podcast or a monthly podcast?
I'm not a podcast expert, but I know if I do a LinkedIn Live or a LinkedIn event, you can convert that to a podcast. And so think about it like that. You're doubling your stack. And your audience for a podcast is on call. It's on call versus in the moment.
Okay, that's the difference. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, once you do a LinkedIn Live, do you have like the recording of that or whatever, and then put that on your LinkedIn profile so that people can go back and see that later on?
You can, yeah. Well, once you create a LinkedIn Live, the replay is a post.
Okay.
And the post, you can do whatever you can want to do with the post.
And you said, Troy, that you had created a bunch of content snippets out of each.
Yeah, it wasn't even snippets. It was like concepts that I could pull and I could show that the things about the LinkedIn Live. And you can pull snippets. I don't like doing too many snippets though, because it's not as genuine as you think. So you want to look above that and saying, what are the lessons learned during this? And if it's how to set something up, who won the prize, congratulations. You got some feel good stuff in there. For example, I am not a salesperson, but I found that generally I'm doing all the things that he's requesting to do, but not specifically. So I have a chance to learn stuff as well. And so you have the energy in there and you have the flow. You can kind of watch a show. It's not a super high profile show, but it's some solid information in there. And if you're really good at sales, you may be more interested in what I have to say. And if you're really high end LinkedIn person, you may be more interested in the sales. So it's a good balance of information, and we provide it as a service for our clients too. So, yeah.
But that is doing LinkedIn Live or helping them produce it.
Yeah, we can manage that process, have an assistant on there, drop the links when need be, create their banner for it, increase their audience through their own account. You name it, it can be done. We don't do super high volume, but I don't think the way I look at it is I cannot take on more than 3 white glove service clients a month. Onboarding, there's like I'm my own bottleneck because there's certain skills that are not transferable. Like they can't read the clients the way I can and things like that. And they want me personally involved in that. Speaking of, that's why I'm creating software. So I had a software company before, and I said, hey, I see this gap on LinkedIn. I want to fill this gap. So I'm producing a piece of software for a SaaS product, and we're halfway done with the development of it. So that was pretty cool. I was excited about that. I was like, I don't have 250K right now to spend on it. I said, but I know there's a gap in here, and I need to fill. And the thing is, we had already built a prototype, and so part of our service for like the booking stuff, and I want to get in details of it. Part of the service is how do I get a higher conversion, and it's all about providing value and adding personalization, and people misperceive both of those. And personalization can be done through your phone, through like a personalized video or a voice memo. It can be done in volume as well. And so we have systems that send out videos that are for the category, or in allowing the client to do their own, own personalized videos for like a welcome message. If you connect, what do you do after you connect? Well, you thank them. Well, how can you thank them and put a little thought into it? You spend some time. So sometimes systems are great, but you have to slow systems down in order to pull out and reap out the rewards on that. And so we have software that does some of those things. I said, but what if we created a software that would help anyone to do it instantly? So you can do a video on your phone. It's a little cumbersome. You can create a video and then grab the link and put it in, and then you get the drop page warning page because you're going on LinkedIn. So what if you solve that problem? What if you can do a video? What if you can do a voice memo right from the computer? And that's the software that we're creating. And we had to figure out, well, who would buy this stuff, right? So you got a piece of software that costs 250K. Now you have to spend 2.5 million on marketing, right? And so there's these obstacles. So how do we solve these obstacles? So we went to these CRMs and these LinkedIn automation platforms, and I said, hey, do these convert? I said, oh, those things convert really well. I said, do you need this? Oh yeah, we need that. So we just take their customers and then give them part of the profit. So I went to the development team, same thing. I brought him into the meeting, and I made sure that he heard them say, yes, we want what you have. And then they said, we'll build it. And so
we should definitely talk about that more. I'm launching
it's all
my own.
strategy based. There are hard licenses. So some technology license costs me like 20 grand just to plug it in and stuff like that. But those costs are way reduced. And so I said, okay, I can make X amount on the consulting, but this is where I can go to the Philippines or leave the country and not worry about money coming in, because you have to be present all the time here. And so you have multiple sources of revenue. Anyway, I want to show you a design, and it'll be out next week.
Is it designed for what?
The new site. So, because you guys are designers, right?
Some, nobody specifically on this team, but anyway, on this call.
My
Although
bad.
some people might be involved in design.
So I'm
Very nice.
redesigning the website, and so this is what it's going to look like. So I'm adding the IT stuff back in because all my clients need some IT work or something. So just wanted to showcase that. So I'll go ahead and stop the share.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Troy? Appreciate your doing that on the spur of the moment. Very valuable. I don't think any of us have the same depth of knowledge with respect to doing live, LinkedIn Live or live presentations on a monthly basis. So very cool. The next thing it's 55 minutes into the hour. Does anybody have a particular problem or issue that they would like others on the call to provide feedback on or ideas? We often, get somebody in a hot seat, so to speak. I'll offer it up if I had mentioned that I am planning on doing a monthly video podcast on marketing technology. It's adjacent to what I do in providing software services in the marketing world. And the focus is getting an innovative product, a vendor with an innovative product and a customer. So it can't be, it's got to be a product where there is a live customer to talk about, how the product really works in the real world, and what the challenges are, and what the benefits were, and what they'd like to see improved, et cetera. So I'm looking for folks who have an innovative product that does have customers, and they would be interested in bringing them to a podcast to talk about the product and implementation with a customer.
I have
Okay.
something that might be good. They have a machine for gene therapy.
It's got to be marketing. Marketing.
Oh,
technology.
marketing product. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, marketing tech. You
Sounds
know
like
what? Maybe I wonder if would you be interested in talking about Adricom?
Sure.
All right, that might be cool.
Yeah.
I know Lev is the CEO, but I find Lev is difficult to understand. He's got a very, very thick accent.
It would not be him.
All right. Yeah, that might be cool, Jason.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, there's some good case studies right now.
All right, good. Yeah, if you've got a customer that you can bring on, that's the key, is to get the interaction going, the discussion going. Why they did what they did, why they went to Adricom, what it helped.
I have a good one. A toy
right.
company. A toy company.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, and they literally blew like $500,000 before they met me, and
Right.
we're able to build them a new platform for not even 10%.
Wow, that's wonderful.
That's you. See what I mean by stories? When you tell me a story like that, how did you pull around? I mean, I'm going to remember that like forever.
Yeah.
That was
10%.
a great story. We've got to do more of that. I'm telling you, that was such a great story, Jason. Like, oh my God, holy camole.
Yeah, saving 90%. That's a big one.
Yeah, for a toy company. I didn't know you did that kind of work.
Yeah.
Well, Adricom is a e-commerce platform, but it's much more than that. It does integrations. It's got a lot of integrations, and what's unique about it is it's a platform and a team. And so you're not just getting, here's some software, make it happen. It's of course not as widely used as some of the other big platforms, but they can cost an arm and a leg. So listen, there's certainly, we're at the top of the hour. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. I want to thank everybody for joining, particularly our guests and of course our members. Mark for the first time, Kenny for the second, Troy for the first time. Craig, I think he's been maybe a long time ago.
Yeah, last year, according to
Last
the
year.
message I sent to
Right.
David, I believe.
All right, and Zev, welcome as a new member. It looks like you're outside, Zev. It looks like you're in Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, normally I would be in my office, but I was out and about today, so I just had to stop at a Starbucks. So that's why I kind of kept my pitch, my little spiel short. Can't really, a little hard to hear and everything. So my apologies, but next time.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. So do drop, if you haven't already, drop your information in the chat. You can download the chat by going to your chat, opening the window, and then there's those three buttons on the bottom. The first choice is Save Chat. if our guests are interested in coming back or exploring membership, please reach out to me. Membership, there's a 3-month trial, and after that, it's $360 a year. And as I said, the idea is to meet people. So make sure you follow up with folks. Troy, thank you so much for your presentation, really valuable. And our next meeting is December 12th at 11 a.m. And the one after that is December 26th. We may cancel it because it's the day after Christmas. So may not get the crowd I was hoping to. Yep.
Michael, what is it? The 2nd and 4th Tuesday?
Yeah, if you go to the website,
It's the
you'll see
second-
under
at
events.
first you said the 1st and the 4th, so that was like it
No,
didn't
I'm
make
sorry, second and fourth.
2nd and the 4th. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Tuesdays.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's on the website. And of course, you'll get, as a member, you get the invites and
Yeah, I
the
love that.
newsletter as
Thank
well. Absolutely. All right, all. Take
Take care.
care. Have a great evening.